Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is a good sign that the room is not full because it means we had fun yesterday. Okay. Hello, everybody online or in the second or third floor, whatever. Please come down. There's space. Well, welcome. I prepared this speech actually. Welcome, everybody. Thanks again to the West University of Timișoara and Alexandra, who's also not here yet. She's also having fun yesterday. For being our incredible hosts, not only the university, but also other organizations from the region, the development agency, even the Secretary of State was here. So really nice to see that we have such broad support in the city, the region, and the country. And again, it's not only a joke, but the social dinner of yesterday is always the highlight of the conference. Because I was saying it already yesterday, I really like, and I think everybody likes this community so much, because for me at least, but I'm a policy person, it's very, very different from all the other conferences I have. And I want to keep it like that. So yesterday, you got the news, and I also got the news I'm elected as chair, so thanks for that. Meeting each other, that's the key. I mean, doing active workshops, unexpected workshops sometimes, that's the key moment. And we add some other elements to that, and I want to focus a little bit on that this morning. But back to the dinner yesterday. I'm not going to say which was the best OLLD in history, but one of the best, because I have to be careful what I'm saying, one of the best parties was the one in Istanbul. That was, for the ones who were there, really, really memorable. But I think yesterday's event was very, very close to that, because also, finally we saw the annual bands in action. So Koen and Temu and the local singers with generational music. If you were really young, you didn't recognize the music, but I did. But I hope everybody liked the Eurythmics. So really, really good to see that. Again, I'm extremely proud to be here in front of you, because I think it's a testimony of the route that we went through as City of Eindhoven, and I hope actually many of you will do that, first as a visitor to the conference, which is open to everybody, then becoming an adherent member, which is like the cheap version of being a member, and that's really good because it's an entry level. And then effective member, and then member of the council, vice chair for 9 long years, and then the chair. And I learned a lot. And I learned a lot with all of you, and especially the council members. We have a new council, and I'm very, very much looking forward to work with all of them, and especially with the core team, and that's Joaquin Garatea from OpenLivingLab, Basque Country, Spain, and Onur from Başakşehir Living Lab, Turkey. And what I didn't mention yesterday, but it's very important to say, I'm also taking with us in the daily board Evdokimus and Georgia, Evdokimus Konstantinidis, who is shifting position with me, but still very, very much engaged, and Georgia Ayfantopoulou, who is also somewhere in the building. I know she's in the building. And why two? Well, the moment I started being able to pronunciate Greek names, I thought I'm going to take two. And the second reason is they are really Living Lab experts and researchers. Because I count on everybody, the daily board, the council, but also you in the room, to represent us wherever you are. Spontaneously, to promote yourself and the Living Labs, and maybe because we ask you. If we are invited to a specialized event, I mean, we have a lot of expertise really in the council, but you never know if there's a specialized invitation and we know you are that experts. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we would not mind at all that you really represent our network. And I'm pointing to you, but I'm actually pointing to everyone. But this is not about me, this is really about you. And We are an extremely diverse community and a real representation of the quadruple helix. And what connects us is the unique concept of living labs who are driving innovation and delivering value. And it is our job to support you in doing that and allow you to keep on doing it. And this is not an easy task for you, also not for us, but also not for you. And those of you who have heard me speaking before know that in the city of Eindhoven we have been running for 10 years a very large living lab on safety and security in a street in the center of the city. And it was, I can proudly say that it was quite impressive. We got really a lot of results, but at the same time I also always show the slides, which was slides of scotch and tape, so glue and tape. Why? Because it was also very vulnerable. It was a large-scale living lab involving really a lot of actors, but it was really a tough job and very vulnerable in its daily operations. And I'm afraid maybe even that many of you will recognize that. And it's our job to support you and strengthen you in your activities. And I think we are in good conditions to do that. And I think that might be a reason to get closer to Emil if you're not in that situation yet today. Because on day 0 in our General Assembly we were presented the updates of the network. And I think from the numbers, the budget and the numbers of projects that we're engaged in, it shows that we are really in good condition. We're growing in numbers, growing in members. The staff is impressive. We have 28 people working for you today. They're not working for themselves, they're working for you, and you can address them on that. Capacity building is really important and a growing activity, so the training offer we have, very diverse offer, led by Marta, who's also somewhere in the room. You can't miss Marta. And projects, Julia is our head of projects, involving many members. Not only the network to strengthen our expertise and methodologies, etc., but also involving you. And there I want to repeat what I said yesterday, which was kind of a spontaneous thing to say, but I'm very much convinced of this. We are a network because of you, and you are the network. So again, talk to the team, give something, and you will get at least double back. And Julia is there to make that happen. If you're a member, for example, you will get unique and early-hand information on funding opportunities, and you can indicate your priorities, so you will be addressed if there is a call on which you want to act, to check if you have the expertise that we need for that project. It's not a role that you are given by definition, but on the level of the expertise, because of course we always need a strong content project, but you are given many opportunities, and make use of it, please. Because we are, this is really a slogan, we are living in interesting times. Heidi said yesterday, imagine we are living in interesting times. We are. And everything these days, and I say it in many stages, is about impact and speed. And Living Labs claim to contribute to that. But we will need to make this claim hard to substantiate it. Because everything these days is on economy and competitiveness, the hard stuff. The famous Draghi report was all over the place in the news 2 weeks ago. The former Italian Prime Minister and President of the European Central Bank wrote an important document which already has a lot of influence on how are we going to strengthen the European economy. And I'm very happy with that document, because with my economical head from the Regional Development Agency, he says what we are saying. And we didn't write the report, but we are very happy with that report. But it's very economically focused. And even in my region, and the Dutch people in the room will know, Brainport Eindhoven, it's all manufacturing. We are so proud of our collaboration in the triple helix, not the quadruple helix yet, triple helix, but it's really focused on economy. And even in our region, we now speak about balanced growth, about delivering not only economical added value, but also societal value. And I think Living Labs really can help realizing this balanced growth. But again, we will need to substantiate this claim, because it's a claim. It's not because you say something that people believe it. And I think the soil project, actually, to make the link with Enel back again, the soil project, on which we have a few sessions this conference, is a unique opportunity for us to make that claim hard. Because, strangely enough, it is one of the only large-scale European projects. I mean, there are many calls, etc. I think Martina and Fernando, and Evdokimos as previous chairs and as director, did an incredible job in making sure that Living Labs are mentioned in European policy documents. In the still ongoing European innovation agenda, like the umbrella document, Living Labs are mentioned, which is quite unique. But in terms of projects, it's still little dots. And the soil is a big dot. And the European Commission strongly believes in the added value of Living Labs. DG Agriculture, strangely enough, not research and innovation, DG Agriculture is a very big believer in Living Labs. But now you need to make, to demonstrate that they are right. Because this is one of the arguments that we will need to secure the future for Living Labs. And every innovation instrument which doesn't call itself a Living Lab, but which is a Living Lab without knowing it, and we will attract them to the network as well. So this is an invitation to all of you to contribute to that work, directly via the projects, but also indirectly by just sharing with us your tangible results. Because we are in interesting times, also policy-wise, and now I'm going really back to my core job, which is European policy. And I'm talking now about Europe, but this is a global issue. From within European policy and European funding instruments, we can collaborate with the whole world. We are also working with United Nations. Arthur Serra from ITOCAT is very important in this. But the core issue on funding is and remains, unfortunately. I mean, if you have knowledge on UN funding instruments, also please share that with us, but we are very knowledgeable about Europe. And we're going into a new preparation of the new funding time, the multi-annual financial framework in difficult words. And the first important moment is late spring next year, when the first proposals will be on the table. And that's the moment when we already have to try to be in those documents. And we will need you, we will address you to give us proof of the results of your Living Labs. And it's also an invitation to the research community. I spoke with Dimitri about that already yesterday, to really, in your research on Living Labs, to work on the financial sustainability of the organizations, to work on measuring the impact, etc. So the researchers in the room, please feel addressed, and we hope to see your papers on that next year in the OLLD, which is going to be in a place that will be announced later today. Voila, that was my opening for today, more or less. We're having an interview as well. Imagine we're living in interesting times. We are. I'm joking these days. Imagine that one day that our Living Labs work. Imagine. We have to be ready for that day. We have to be ready for that day, as I was just explaining, but also the follow-up of the results. Yesterday we launched our Urban Innovation Working Group, and one of the key aspects there, but I think it should be an aspect in every working group, is what are we going to do to mainstream, to upscale the Living Lab results? Because the Living Lab is the seed you try, and then what? You're all working so hard to manage to get the funding together to make your Living Lab running, and then you're doing a great job, and then what? So we need to be ready. And I think, for example, that's why I was addressing Mr. Sorin from the Development Agency. People managing regional funds, for example, are an excellent way for you to do the follow-up funding of European collaboration projects or other collaboration projects. We cannot rely all the time on European funding, but we have to organize ourselves, I think, to also reach out to other funding sources which are maybe only in your city or your region or your country. But on that, I think we can also try to help you. And with these financial words, I want to say thank you. Welcome to the second day, and enjoy the rest of the day.
So good morning and welcome back to day 2. We are really eager to start this second part of the conference. Did you have fun yesterday? We are just sorry that not everyone could really be part of it this year, but next year we will make sure that there will be room for everybody to celebrate, to rock with our band and to dance with our DJ. So we are now going to actually dig a little bit more and have a conversation with our former president and our new president, or chairs, to reflect a little bit on what has been the past 3 years and what is up there for us in the coming years. So I would like to invite Dokimos and Lim. Okay, as we said, we would like to start from what has led us here today. So with the documents to reflect a little bit of the achievement of the past 3 years, but also the challenges and how we have faced them. And also a little bit if you can walk us through how the network has evolved in the past 3 years. And I also would like to anticipate that we will have a Q&A time afterwards, so please listen and prepare questions, because our video is really to share with you what has been and what will come. So, Tato.
Thanks, Martina. I'm sure that I'm going to forget many things, because it was 3 years of many activities. You know, and always achieved many milestones, many things. You have already heard them, so I'm gonna say a couple of them. And I would like, at the end, as Martina said, to have this Q&A, all of us, because I think it's the most important thing. Because you hear us, I mean, men all the time, but it's time to hear you as well. So, achievements, I would say that the first thing, although I don't know this from inside, and I explain why, is that an all office is a cool environment for people to work. At least this is my feeling, because as a president, I don't interact with the people, we interact only with the director, but I see the feeling, I see the smiles, I see that people feel better and better and better. You can see the smiles here and in the conference. And it's well organized in groups, so it's not everybody for everything, but the office seems to be organized. You want, as Vim said, you want for capacity building, you go to Marta, you want for projects, you go to Julia. There's a nice structure that helps the network as well. This is important. All this is to provide value for the network, not only for the organization of the office. And the office with the secretariat, I would say more the secretariat than the council, created a pathway for growing. Now, we know how to grow, because it was even at some point challenged, not during the 3 years, even before, to learn how to grow safely. So I think that we have achieved now this skill. Then I would like to say for the first coordination of Vitalize, the project Vitalize, it's not the project, it's the mentality that we created to coordinate, and the skill and the ability to coordinate. Because coordinating a project, it's not about the tasks that you have, it's also that you have financially auditable, you can also check the financials of all the other partners. So we have this skill, and Julia explained yesterday that now we have this mentality of let's coordinate one more in order to make sure that we create value. And Vitalize was about creating value. And created a lot of exploitable results that would have zero value unless we have the valorization of the key exploitable results. Key exploitable results are potentially exploitable results. Moving to exploitation and valorization means that you create the skills and you create the structure in order to valorize things. And we had a discussion in the council about the potential license agreement of exploitable result to a new company, which is really a discussion that makes us feel that services can create and grow. We also created or experimented with a new type of events. We have the flagship event. We had the participation in many key conferences throughout the years, but now we experimented a bit with the national summits, info days, thematic symposia, and as Martina said, it's fine if we don't, if we make mistakes and if we decide that, you know what, symposia doesn't work, so let's move to something different. But at least, again, we, as all of us, and coordinated by the office, we have the skills to experiment now. We have been invited by the European Commission to join working working groups, but also discussions with them, even informally, which is really important, in order to understand what Living Labs do and how they can be added in the course. Because formally the European Commission was always there, but the informal discussion means that there is also a real interest from their side. And all these achievements, just to make sure that it's not only stating the all these achievements are the work, or actually are the achievements of the work of the last 15 years. I will say at the end that what I believe that each president brings really something to this. We had also the 100 Soil Living Labs call, which is, as Vin said, it's really an achievement, a milestone, I would say, because this triggered also discussions for other units to see how they can have similar calls. And also we have been mentioned as Living Labs in the new European Innovation Agenda. And with the effort of Martina, but also with the Secretary and the Council, we managed to bring together all the heads of the missions sitting at the same table and discussing openly in order to see how Living Labs can support the missions. A really important thing for me is the Living Lab certification in KPI, which is evolving a lot. It's the work of led by Kuhn. And the fact that not only we do a lot of work there, but also that we manage to document this into scientific papers. It's not about the scientific papers, it's about the documentation. It's about every time, you know what, the KPIs for becoming a Living Lab is there. It's open, you can read, you can learn. Many services coming from the projects, capacity building, communication and network groups. You've heard yesterday about them. And a new working group on harmonization, which is really an horizontal working group that runs across all the working groups. And we do believe in this a lot. So I move on to challenges. Any reflection from you? Okay. The biggest challenge we had was that in 1 month we had a new president and a new director, which really, it's not easy because you have to understand, of course there was the continuation from Vim and Omer, so they were in the secretariat, but on the daily business you had to find out. Of course there was support from the previous director and also previous president, but it requires effort. You cannot call them every minute, say, what is this, where can I find this? And the key to overcome all the challenges, not only this, it was the good collaboration with the Secretariat. The collaboration with the Secretariat, it was really amazing. Thanks, Vim, Omer, and Jogging for this. Every time there was a challenge or a problem, even a phone call. And we had this kind of discussion, open discussion always, which was really a pillow that you know that there's the secretary, we're going to find the solution. Even if we disagree, I mean, we put all the options on the table and then we find the solution. And I'm sure that it's going to continue like this because BIM is there to guarantee this. So we had the challenges to tie up the office, but first, as I said, to find out what is needed for tidying it up. And MOUs, I would put the MOUs in the milestones, but intentionally I mention MOUs in the challenges, because now MOUs are actually a challenge how to implement, not just to sign. The importance and the growth of an all is on how we're going to implement the MOU. Should we sign, and if we sign, is it something that we can achieve? And this way I have it in a challenge, but the office doesn't, Martina does very good work on this. The OpenLivingLab days to foster the culture and create the skills to the team. You see, every year is better and better and better, because now we try to see how we can have many people from the office working with different responsibility seats. And thank you all from the office for this. To make the council more engaged, it was a challenge. We didn't manage, but this is the vision of him, and I really support 110% for this, to see how the council can be more engaged. Challenge is also to experiment with new things, like the lottery. Yesterday, I think it was the second time, and also the info day. So we're experimenting. We see what is needed, we learn from you what is needed, and then we experiment. And also, the big challenge is that comes also from your side, from the member side actually, is the funding for living labs, how we can find mechanisms for funding living labs. And this is why we invite during the info days or the national summits, we invite also the national funding mechanisms. Apart from the European Commission, we try also to support our members in inviting funding mechanisms and explaining them what living labs are, why living labs should be there. And in most of the cases, you see heads moving like, okay, yes, you're right. And this is already an achievement. I mean, you don't see the achievement the next day. But if we manage to have in 3 years from now and different national funding mechanisms mentioning living labs, it's already an achievement. And how the network evolved, we have more effective members, but the most important, we have happy members. This tie wire is from the University of my research. A member brought it as a gift. They bring things because they do believe that it's a family. They come to the visit, they come to the office. Or we, as office or as secretary, when we are somewhere, we try to find our members and discuss with them and to better understand, because it's a network, always. I mean, it's a European network and goes beyond Europe. But when you go to Crete, for instance, and you discuss, you hear how they want to grow the living lab in the ecosystem, and they need our support. And the office is there to support you in order to grow in your local ecosystem. We have returning members, we have dropping out members. I mean, we are a network, a living network, and we have new members as well. And just to mention, and this because I'm there and I know this, we had increase in 2016 one living lab, our living lab, the Sonic Action for Health and Wellbeing living lab. And today we have 8. And this comes from the effort of the office to support us to increase awareness around living labs in Greece. So every time as a member you need such a support, the office is there, Vim is there, you can call them and then you see how you organize this together. And some years ago we had a couple of applications for hosting the OpenLivingLab days. And last year we had 4. And this increased, which means that there is an interest from the community, and this is really, really amazing. I hope I'm sure I forgot things, but I hope I haven't forgotten really important things. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sheldon. Thank you for being there all the time, all the way. So, Bim, let's go a little bit in the future. So, you shared already a little bit of your vision and your background, especially. So now maybe would you like actually to tell us about the strategic direction that the network will be taking and which are the key priorities? We know that priorities, especially in our community, are evolving priorities, and we are there to listen and to kind of filter and help everything grow. But what are your priorities?
I've already shared quite a few of the things I want to push, not push, suggest to go forward. Wrong word choice. When I was staying in the council, I really want this council to be to take a common responsibility and to contribute all. I'm really serious about it. Yesterday, a colleague in the council, I'm not going to name names, during our session, so now we are getting close to the name, it's Georgia, by the way, so I really like Georgia because she's passionate. And she told Anthony, the moderator of the session, just tell me when I have to stop speaking, because if you ask, I can speak forever. She's also the type of person that can say everything in 30 seconds, if you want. I think, there she is. Big applause. The same is for me. Yesterday it was a bad joke when I was saying we're Dutch and we're humble and introvert, because Dutch are not humble and introverts, but I'm an introvert who learned to be an extrovert on stage. I'm that type of person. So I can speak for a long time, but I'm not planning to do so. So I really count on everybody, including everybody here in the room. That's really, again, an invitation to send all your ideas and suggestions to, I think, info@nl.org. Or anybody else you know. So maybe I do have, but I'm not going to share a big master plan because I want your ideas as well. We are going to prepare a new strategic plan for NL, so that's, again, I think I said it yesterday. So we are welcome to hear your thoughts. Of course, not every single idea will be there. We're going to cluster that. What I did say when I was a candidate for the council half a year ago is that I represent two underrepresented types of actors in the network, and that is cities. That's why we launched the Urban Innovation Working Group yesterday, so that's already some kind of action on a new priority, I hope, and industry. I'm not sure if we're going to get many industry members here in the room. That's maybe not what they are interested in, but I do believe thoroughly that if we're talking about quadruple helix, the industry, the business helix is one to really grasp and take better care of. Because I think we're talking a bit in cliches about industries sometimes, and that's not for the good reasons. So that's kind of a priority maybe. The international, and I'm then talking global collaboration, is definitely something we are going to take into our hands. 2 weeks ago we were with a very, very nice delegation in New York for a side event of the United Nations General Assembly. We will speak about that later this afternoon in the session organized by I2CATS. We heard incredible stories there about the UN itself. The United Nations Development Programme has a worldwide network of accelerated labs, which are really grassroots initiatives to tackle challenges and solve them with very hands-on innovation topics, and with the ability to share that worldwide. I think we can learn from that on agility, and we can collaborate. And also on funding, we heard stories from Africa, from Senegal and Canada, with own funding programs. We have the friends from South Korea in the room, who we know have a very interesting national funding program. So also there, I think we can get inspiration for the European proposals that we would put on the table in the next year. So these are a few of my priorities, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And before we open to the questions, I also would like to underline that actually, as Wim was saying, we are really relying a lot on Horizon Europe, that is still an open to the world funding program. So even if we have members all around the world, they can participate. In many cases, like Canada now is associated to Horizon, so it's funded. They don't have to come with their own funds. So discussing that with Julia and Ariana, Aurora, we are giving to all our members, is taking in consideration also this and the specific topics for international cooperation. That is also the core of the network, because we are more and more a global network, so it is really important. But we really would like actually to hear from you if you have questions, reflections. As we said, we want to listen, we are actively listening, but we are also stimulating the conversations, we hope. So, do you have any questions for Eutokimos and Bim, or suggestion that you would like to voice already now? And someone with a microphone will come.
I have one question. First of all, I would like to thank Eutokimos for the good cooperative work he did, and I also congratulate Will for his new presidency and all the work he has done in the last 9 or 10 years. So he's been very effective and very professional. Of course, as the treasurer, I have been looking at the figures of how much of the NO's revenue is coming from projects and from network memberships. And of course, there's been a great shift towards projects, which is great. I mean, the revenue has grown. Of course, I would like to see the number of members still growing. I can see that the number of member applications and the approvals are mostly from Europe. So when I look at the accepted members and the members we are having applications from, are mostly in Europe. And regarding the strategy towards becoming global, we have tried this node thing. I don't think it worked so far. But do you have any strategic vision about actually what are the problems? Why don't labs around the world actually apply to become certified NO member? Do they have other networks, or do they want to work on their alone, I mean, as a living lab in their own environment? So just to talk about globalization.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question, and one close to your heart, I know, because you are one of the members always pushing for this, for the good reasons, by the way. I remember very well the Geneva OpenLivingLab days, summer school it was still called. And there was an issue with Australia. Sonia is somewhere here. Australia is an incredible partner. The issue was not an issue, actually. It was a big misunderstanding. Because the misunderstanding was Australia wanted to take a bigger responsibility, one of the Australian living labs. And we signed an MOU to be a node. Then the problem with MOUs is that, like a living lab, it sometimes stops when the project funding is over. An MOU also has a tendency to stop when the signature is put. And I think we shouldn't do that. So we have been signing MOUs with Australia, very valued member, really frontrunners. We have been signing MOUs with Japan, with South Korea. And I think we need to be more considerate in really following up on the action. So on the notes, as you know, in the council we had two very good sessions in the last year, that we don't want to, by definition, divide the world into continents. It's the region that you define. If you are a strong candidate to be responsible for the, let's call it the Middle East nodes, which is stretching out over different continents. And I think we have to look where the engagement and the feeling of responsibility is, and start with the pilots. I don't think we can do everything. If there is enough engagement, why not? But I think it would be good to really start, as we were trying with Australia 6 years ago, to really start somewhere and then see how it works. Not, in my vision, to become a network of networks, because then we are going to create our own competition, and it's not, competition is the wrong word, but I think, and if you have other information, tell us, I think we are really the only network of living labs today. As Eindhoven, we were a member of 2 living lab networks at one moment. There was one, Global Living Labs, doesn't exist anymore. I think we are really the only one today. And I would like to keep it like that. But that doesn't mean that we have to think we are ruling the world, because we're not. And I think we have to be very considerate that there is a big logic in having these nodes and giving bigger responsibility to one of our members to manage that, because that, you know that region much better. And then, coming back to your question, you know much better than many of us from Brussels or European office know the real needs and the differences in sensitivities and approaches, etc., to start living labs and to make them operational and in a successful way. So that would be my approach to this, and if you continue to be that candidate, because you have been saying it many times, and I really appreciate that, then let's make that happen. Yeah. And then we can shift the balance in figures from membership fees and projects more to 50-50.
Shifting and increasing.
Yes, thank you. I was wondering what your publication strategy is, and then both for the professional audience and more for the academic audience, because I think it could be very worthwhile to have this a bit more clustered.
Is the publication policy?
Yeah.
What is for you the difference between a professional audience and academic audience? Maybe this is a stupid question that I don't understand.
Oh yeah, well as an academic you sort of have to publish in academic journals to get your citations, your publications, etc. And as a professional audience, I think you have like more project-oriented type and more straightforward type of publications.
Very good question. Also spoke, and if I'm naive on this, you have to tell me. In the diverse community we have a very strong, there's a very strong research community here. We have a separate research track. In our current strategic plan, we even have written down, and that was a very good idea of Ed Dockmus, and I think we didn't do it because of money issues, to have a separate research-focused living lab days. I'm actually happy we didn't, personally, but to be discussed in the council and with you, so thanks for the question. I'm actually happy we didn't do that separate track, because I'm fully aware of the unicity of this track, and it's running today and yesterday. But I would like to see, however naive that may be, is that from the academic publication, we do our best within the limited possibilities that we have to take those results further. So it's a very honorable deliverable as an academic to have your paper published, and that's excellent. But I would like to see the results to be taken further. And the possibilities for us are limited, because it's just a matter of expertise and money. But if we could do that, making use of all the network and the working groups to have a bit of a line of action, I think that would be new for the network and would add value.
If I can also comment, you see, usually special issues organized with invited papers from the research papers that we have here. Dimitri knows better. And also, as Wim said now, as I said, we're going to experiment. And we start this year, and next year it's going to be the Health Symposium in May, which is going to be really only papers, scientific papers. So a conference only for papers. One day, release more things, but really to the point, 4 health papers indexed in Scholar or Scopus. So this is the idea, because this event, this is our event, OpenLivingLab Days. This is the networking, this is learning from each other, knowledge transfer. But as you said, there is also the researchers that need their place to publish and get citations. And in order not to have, I know that you have a second thought, should I set the paper there, in OpenLivingLab this, or somewhere where that it's a journal, etc.? We try to address this as well.
If I can also comment on this, we have actually changed also our unit from capacity building and research. And we have actually hired an amazing colleague to follow this part, that is Dimitri Surman, that now is a team of and on for this part. And tomorrow all the academics are invited to a workshop that we will have in the morning to start defining what we are going to tackle with the research group. And our idea is really to reinforce our research side, because we would like to have something for all the helixes, let's say, at the end, in a couple of years. So please join us, bring your ideas. I think it is important to have a good roadmap, and we are going to co-create the roadmap with all the university members, but also externals that are here on the conference. So this is why we wanted to launch it here and not after, but really to have access to people that maybe are not yet a member, but they are universities that are interested in this research part and that can contribute with their ideas. Yeah. Another thing that is actually, thank you so much. We have started also collaborating with ISPIM. You know ISPIM conference? You don't know? It is actually, someone knows. So it is actually a conference on innovation managers. It is huge. And we are going to, already we published the proceedings of the last Living Lab, the OpenLivingLab days, into the journal of, it is actually a school journal of public management, innovation management, the GIM. And the year before, thanks to Sonia Patel from Australia, we managed to publish the best papers on frontiers. That is also a great journal. So I think that this is the trend. I really would like, and we saw that this is actually a very good achievement, that this year we received so many papers and we selected 40 that are a lot, but last year it was 24. So you can see the growth, and definitely next year we need a bigger room for the research track, and this is the biggest achievement. Please.
I have a follow-up question. I had a similar question to the previous one, and but you partially answered my question. I wanted to ask if this is in line with the priorities also of the new president, the work on research aspects in living labs, not at the individual level of the researchers contributing and working in this network, but also as an overall priority of an all, to bring some clarity and to act as a knowledge organization to really support this domain, also from the research and the scientific perspective, because I feel there is a great need for doing this, given the blurred circumstances and the blurred definitions we come across working in this domain, implementing but also doing research in this domain, both.
Yeah, totally, of course. I invited, half an hour ago, I invited the whole research community here to continue doing your work basically, but to continue feeding us with new knowledge and expertise. I'm going to make a reference to a project I'm involved in myself. I am involved in one of the two Horizon Europe projects on the ERA hubs, European Research Area Hubs, which is all about place-based, knowledge-driven innovation ecosystems. Why? Because we think that with the partners we are involved there, that is Eindhoven, Netherlands, Copenhagen, Denmark, Prague, Czech Republic, we can give inspiration to how you set up a knowledge-driven innovation ecosystem where everything starts with research. And the issue there is to have to create a an economic impact at the end, but it starts always with basic research. And you set up the system with your quadruple helix partners on the whole line. But it starts with basic research, and it's a bad comparison, but I think we have to do the same within NL, large community, and for ourselves. So counting on you to constantly feed us with new knowledge and expertise, clarifications, as you say, because this is one of those eternal discussions in our network, what is a living lab? If needed, to clarify that, and then take on, that's what I was saying in my naive way, take on those results to valorize them in a way. And this is another definition of knowledge valorization maybe, but to make the knowledge flow in all our network for all the parties involved. Definitely totally support you on that. Yeah.
And please go back to the working groups that you belong, and try to see with them how you can organize symposium, how you can host the symposium. The office is here to support, it has all the expertise, but it's a real opportunity. As we said, here is the flagship event. We are here because we want to meet each other. But we have also the necessary researchers for having publications index in order to have more citations. And this is the symposium. So go back and try to organize. And the idea of the symposium is to be really something 1 day, 1.5 day, only papers without, amazing food or amazing dinner, etc. like it's happening here.
And to comfort every question or worry there may be on this topic, this is exactly the reason why I asked Documus and Georgia to be my vice presidents, to really have the academic expertise within the daily management of
Thank you. I'm from Istanbul Living Lab. My name is Yılmaz Çakır. Well, first of all, I would like to thank former President Erdogan. He did a great job, and I congratulate him. And thank you also our director, Martina. Well, how you see the future of living labs and all in Europe and especially in Africa? And I haven't seen any participants from European Union, live participants. I don't know why. Thank you.
Thank you. Two different questions. Starting on Africa. Africa is it on? Yeah. I think I've been elaborating already on the global aspirations that we have to turn into reality. We have a very good existing connection with some African countries, in particular thanks to IPCAT, for who this is a real priority. Again, Senegal, Tunisia, Egypt, we are actually very active already today. I understand from the new council, with whom we had a meeting 2 days ago, that within the 16 council that we have now, at least 3 times I heard from what's on top of your mind, Africa came up. So I think in the whole issue of working on a global level, we are putting, definitely we're going to put a priority on Africa. I also heard a lot on reaching out to young people, and I think if there is one continent where there are many young people that we should take very well care of, it's Africa. So that's point number 1. And your second question was on why European Commission? That's a practical thing. Unfortunately, you're fully right. We only had them online. It's an internal commission policy thing. They are not allowed to travel anymore. So they travel much less than before. They do travel sometimes, but it's really hard to get them out of Brussels. Yeah, it's stupid, but it's true. But this is also one of the reasons why we are thinking of organizing a big event in Belgium, Brussels, or another Belgian city. Maybe an exhibition of the OLLD, maybe something else. But in particular, because of the time that we are facing now, facing in a positive way, like the incredible amount of opportunities that we will have to showcase the added value of living labs and the need to integrate them in the future policies, and in Europe, policy is always translated into money at some point. And we need to talk with the people from the Commission in person. We are doing that in separate meetings. Martina is doing that every day, very good, by the way. We had a very good event on the missions earlier this year. The documents referred to it. This was really a big accomplishment to have these heads of the missions in one single room. Really an incredible achievement. So we're going to do that kind of meetings with the Commission more often. It may be in the context of this conference, it may be in a separate context, but we will definitely continue to reach out to them in person. And maybe, hopefully, they will show up in person in these conferences again. But it's really a practical, it's not because of a lack of interest, but it's really a practical reason they are not allowed to travel as much as they were in the past. Yeah, and we have a new commission on it. I mean, there's so many reasons to reach out to them because they need to be educated again. So new commissioners, first we need to have the confirmation, so the new commissioner, research and innovation is the priority one. So proposed to go to the Bulgarian, how do you call it, commissioner-elect. If she passes the test of the parliament, we will reach out to her cabinet. And there's always the turnover in the commission, in the administration. So the good contacts that we have, we'll keep them, and we will reach out to new people whenever they pop up somewhere.
I wanted to complement something that was said before on research. Dimitri is also organizing a call on sustainability in the journal. So with the track papers will also be submitted there. And as Evdokia also was saying, since the researchers tend to be somehow specialized in disciplines, the working group have a role to play. So the working group Energy and Environment has organized a research group of 36 researchers that will be active on the success of the IPCC special report on cities and climate change, where obviously the priority of cities that have been evoked before cross the emergency of climate change and the long-lasting effects. And in this, as Madam was saying, it's important that we do not only have single paper that here and there do something, but we organize the full-fledged support to researchers that, for instance, want to be authors of the IPCC. We put them in contact with the focal point of the IPCC. We use the different connection also, and I finish. The report will be here, will be published at the beginning of 27. It's the last before basically at the end of the transition failure or what, because 2030 is really when we exhaust the carbon budget for 1.5. Basically, at that point, or even before, we need city municipalities and stakeholders read that report. And perhaps we might translate this very scientific, dense, full of quotes, a lot of bibliography, into something that can be used in cities, by citizens first, and obviously by all the stakeholders. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Valentino, maybe if you would shortly present yourself as well.
Yes, I was the coordinator of this working group. I'm a specialist on climate change. I've been participating to COP, to UNFCCC, also in the name of another this year in the interannual in Bonn, where we contacted a number of governments in the same line as Martina organized in New York. So yes, I'm a climate somehow strategist. Thank you.
Yeah, and a beautiful example of how we all strengthen each other's networks, because through Valentino and his colleagues, we have indeed access to the COP community and the work of the IPCC, the climate reports. So it goes in all directions, let's say. You support us, we support you, and like that we try to have an impact on the research level and in real world problems, and those two are connected, by the way. And Valentina will be our climate strategist. Right? It's an announcement.
Okay. Hi everybody. I take this opportunity first of all to thank the three of you, because indeed the success of Enol and also the experience we are getting today, these days in the Living Lab days are really very much based on your passion and your very extreme ideas and a lot of work that you have put in that. And I hope we will be in a position to help you going further in this road of success. I would like to come a little bit more on this issue of research. I'm a researcher, but I will, let's say, support very much what Vin said. So we need to have a balance. Okay. What we definitely need is to identify what is the missing research for the Living Labs implementations. And that is something that probably we can create on our strategy document. We have to make the statement, as it comes from the ecosystem, this big ecosystem here, what is missing in research in order to make Living Labs approaches, methodologies, these issues of systemic change that we discussed today, to be implemented. If we can of course, let's say, have alliances with sectorial research, but there are a lot of let's say, publications or possibilities of presenting this type of sectorial research. So I think we need to focus on that, and there is a huge gap that an all scientific and research community can fill, and all of us contributing in each one on the level of expertise. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Simonas from Lithuania. Last, maybe not easy, what is about Russia in the network? I saw that in 2024 members, Russia is included, and me, like from the Baltic countries, very important to go forward with that.
I'm going to start and I'm going to hand over to Martina. I think on the map it was indicated that we have one. In Tomsk, we have one accredited Living Lab. In issues like this, but I'm going to let Martina conclude or correct me, in issues like this, because there are a few issues in the world these days, normally we follow the position of the European Commission in these issues, which in this case clearly says that we are totally on the side of Ukraine.
Thank you, Lynn. I think that the Living Lab in Tomsk was certified the year before I came, and they had a membership for 3 years. And when, actually, I would give it back to the documents, because, not because it's a hot potato, it's not a hot potato, but we really, to be honest, we took, when the war started, we decided we had something to do. What do we do as an honor? What is our standing? And the world is becoming more and more complicated. So what we did in Torino, we organized a session, thanks to Artur, on Living Labs for Conflict Resolution. We discussed with the European Commission, who asked us if we would be in to use Living Lab in a specific topic with Ukraine for the post-reconstruction. And we said yes, all the way. And what we did, we made really a post on peace. And I know that maybe being from a border country, this is not satisfactory for you. And we have also now other complicated situations in the network. So the question is, do we want to be an open inclusive network? Do we want to be a political network? What should we do? I think that also on this we need also to listen to our members and to our different sensitivities. But it is an open issue, and thank you for bringing this up, because it is better to discuss these things in the family than to have a thought and say why these people are on the map, but we are also talking about people, not governments. We are talking about practitioners that are working on the ground. We are not having the government involved in the network. So it is a thin line, a red line, and we really need to understand how to work it.
You were here actually to unite innovators. As Wim said, we have to follow a plan, but as Martina said, we are not a political organization. We are here to unite innovators. I think this is, and as Martina said, we are here to hear all of you. At the end of the day, we care about innovation. I wish I had the power to stop the war everywhere. But innovators, researchers, academics may not be, maybe it's not me starting the war, you see, or you or a researcher. So we have to follow what the European Commission for Research, the framework that they have, but then we do our best.
Is that a satisfactory answer for the moment to your question?
Yes, it answers your opinion, not the answer, but thank you for that.
I don't know if this is a question or it's 3 points. Damiano from Siambari. The first point is respect of our priority, respect of the future strategic plan. We underline that it's important to increase the number, of course, to increase the number of our members. It's important to increase the number of our members from Africa. But I think that respect of this topic is important to define a specific strategic plan, because it's different respect of the general point to increase the number of the member. It's necessary to think in which way we can to facilitate to increase this number in Africa. And I don't know if it's necessary to establish also a different fee to enter in our organization, because we know that the situation is different respect country to country. This is the first point.
All right, answer.
Can I just say something? Because this is also a kind of announcement. And you know, I had a colleague from a country outside of Europe that actually said that she thought that the membership of ENOL was really extremely expensive. It is actually 700 euros, and I know that for Africa this can be a lot. So we started launching, this will be from next year, Virtual Learning Lab. We will have a specific price for the lower middle income countries, because this was also one of the actions to invite the southern countries to. We didn't think this about the membership. We can see, you are the Africa expert. I mean, Siam is present in almost all African countries, and we have been talking about this a lot, so let's try to do this, but we really try starting from the capacity building. That is the way we are also offering us services to these countries. So we didn't announce it yet, but this is the occasion to do this.
The second question is very, no, it's not a question, it's a sort of banality. It's necessary to create a strong, now we work respect of the new strategic plan, we established the priority. For me, it's important to create a strong connection between our priority of the strategic plan and the project that we done in ENOL, and because of course it's the main modality, the main way it's possible to give sustainability of our priority and of our strategic plan. The third point is connected with the previous. is our ethical aspect. I don't know if it's necessary to create a sort of manifesto. I don't know the tools, but it's important that Enol have a clear ethical issue. Thanks.
Thank you. A less question than a statement. That's good. I like statements because you're in council, so we will work on that. On the Africa issue, well, you are one of the people with the network there already, and I forgot to mention South Africa in the number of countries we're working with. In New York, we were actually hosted the whole day in the embassy and by the ambassador of South Africa. So there we also really count on you, but also on the local people who can exploit in a positive way, make use of their networks to stimulate and promote and all, and bring the living labs in Africa, or the emerging living labs in Africa closer to our network, for sure. Yes. And not only Africa. I mean, I really hear the big priority on Africa, but I've mentioned other countries. We are really working hard on the relationship with India as well. We were there already this year. We will go again. So that's also was already a priority, but now it's a priority in action as well.
I love this session. Can I say this? Thank you so much for your questions. It's really important to have this conversation.
Good morning. Ruben Weinberg from Inhoud University. What I noticed is that so we researchers, industry, educators, municipalities, well, from my perspective, we are busy with trying to make living labs work. But when I reach, for instance, managers on strategic level or technical level, sometimes they go like, yeah, that's a hobby, or great, you know. And of course, we're working on it. I'm just wondering, can we do something? Or maybe you say, that's not the objective of the network, that's something that we also need to do within our own ecosystems and organizations. But is there a role for the network to sort of help managers, decision makers in institutions on a more strategic level to also find out how they can make experimental environments, because sometimes they don't know. So can we help them with that? What's your vision on that?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. It's one very close to my heart, at least. The answer is yes. The research question which was asked there, like clarifying even more the living lab concept, it's really annoying discussion sometimes in NL, because we know why we're not giving a 100% straightforward definition of living labs. The key characteristics are clear. There's no discussion about that, I think. And if yes, let's talk about it. But how you formulate that in a definition, that's something else. Because there are so many valuable variations of what a living lab is in theory and in practice that maybe we shouldn't go there. But educating your own bosses, to put it in human language, definitely very, very much needed. We see it in our municipality every day, unfortunately. And yesterday in the session from the DUST working group, so the Urban Innovation Working Group, one of the key issues that Agathe Fouquet from Paris Metropolitan Region showcased was the internal education. Educate your local decision makers on what it is that they actually do and why they're doing it and why it works sometimes and why it doesn't work and why it's not a bad thing. Why both results can be a good thing. And also, we had even had a discussion on the way here this morning, when you have a result, but it's another result than you were actually aiming for at the start. So, educating the people who at the end take decisions sometimes, who are there to sign documents and give money. And it's not a self-serving argument like, oh, I'm doing a great job and let me continue what I do. No, it's really about educating everybody, including the people you mentioned. So I think this should be something we take care of, and clear communication is part of that, and I think we should help all of you in that. Yeah, definitely.
And maybe there is something that with the documents we started thinking of piloting, and we started some conversation around this. And it is still in the early stage, that's why we haven't yet shared it. But the idea is that we have a broad team in all. As Wim was saying, we are now 28. We have a core team in Brussels, but we have colleagues, they don't even know. I'm saying this, but you don't know, guys. You are in many cities, okay, around Europe. So the idea is that why don't we have to start some contact points in local universities hosted by local members that can give maybe an office, a desk, something, but to have an all contact point in each country where we are present, so that also it becomes part of the institution somehow, and an ambassador, and a way to spread the knowledge of what we are doing. So it is still an idea that we started discussing in the country we have the most colleagues, so I don't want to spoil it, because of course we need to see if there is an appetite for this, and apparently there is. But before it becomes, but I think this can be a way to be there as much as possible to support you.
And to add more, and I don't know if Panos Prometheus wants to comment on this, Frank, you want to comment on this, on what I'm going to say? First of all, that we know the importance of formalizing the role of living labs in the universities. So I can say that, and also submitted a proposal on how we can have innovation offices by having living labs and technology transfer offices working together. And also Panos want to mention how he made a step towards formalizing living labs in academia.
Well, we tried to expand a little bit the notion of our living lab, because we had in the last 5 years quite a few queries from interested living labs, you know, not only from Greece but also from other places, even Africa, I think. And, but it's important that they don't refer to just one living lab, being it an affected member, but an important point of, you know, formal point of contact, like you say. If there is a representation of an all in the university, like a national contact point, let's say for the Enol community in there, or regional even, I don't know. Something like this, and then we can push forward to the university for formally taking this action and establishing it with a formal memorandum of understanding, for example, of the university. At the moment we act very sort of, I would say, limited in our expansion, because we signed as a living lab the contract, we pay our fees as a lab, but the university, you know, it's not doing anything other than, you know, welcoming our summits or something like this. So it is important that we perhaps think to create something like this in the next few weeks even, you know, like we can promote that, and I think it's going to benefit for many reasons. And we can announce it even in the second summit or something.
So we are happy to start.
There are cases that, you know, the description of a position for a professor contains also living labs in the very short description. So we have started having this kind of, you know, acknowledgement, but also formalization of living labs in universities.
And I'm really sorry that we have to stop this conversation, but we are really eating up all the coffee break. But I think, thank you very much, Documents, thank you, Wim. Thank you all of you for this very interactive session. Please write to us. We have many different addresses. We have a brand new website that is actually a community website that will be co-created with all of you as well. So just reach out. We are always there for you. So please just do this. Thank you so much.